Hi, everybody.
Yeah, hi. We organized a lot, but apparently we didn't plan enough to have this be smooth.
Okay, so I'm Eric Kaplan. How are you?
I'm Noel Belknap. We are here to answer some of these Q&As. It's been 8 months.
Yes, this is Q&As about Guys Next Door, the animated project that we put on YouTube. I guess about 8 or 9 months ago. So thanks for asking the questions, and here we are. Because if we say we're going to do something, we do it. And there's exciting news because many of these questions are grouped around the question, what's the future of this project? What's going to happen next? When can we see another episode? What's going on? All good questions, and we have a good answer. I mean, in some sense, a bad answer, but also a good answer. The people who ask this are B-Boy Flimsy, and Jinik KKK, and SN3 Ling at Lux Luminaro, and Jackrock 3978, and Jan Drew Boole, and Fried Kool-Aid, and Tez 3K991, and Lady Lovis sort of implicitly says, yo, this shit is dead, LMAO. Okay, so this is also asked by Echoes, QO3VY and Snipervux and Call Me Starchild. And people want to know, could it be canceled even though it's indie? Well, essentially there aren't going to be any more episodes of Guys Next Door. The people funding it didn't want to put more money into making more of them, and there aren't going to be more. That's too bad. That's disappointing. But Noel and I met and we figured out how to do cartoons together. And we're switching over to a new project and a new studio, which we're starting together. And this studio is called Kapknap Animation. So if you head over to the YouTube Kapknap or Kapknap Animation site, you'll see what we're working on. And what we're working on is a new show called My Friend Coffee. So if you want to hear about My Friend Coffee and other things we're going to do, we'd really like you to follow that channel. Because if you like Guys Next Door, I guarantee you will like that. Because they're from the same people and have a similar sensibility, similar sense of comedy, similar artistic look. It's about the horrors of work, about how when you have to work, they take the things, they being the bosses, take the things that...
We don't want to spoil.
We're not going to spoil it.
That's for the next video.
That's for the next video. Okay, I'm not going to spoil it. But was it spoiling it to say that they would like it?
No.
No. Okay, so that's not spoiling it. So long and short of it, no more Guys Next Door. Yes. Have you guys considered Patreon or Kickstarter? That's how we're going to handle funding Kapknap Animation. Kapknap, by the way, Kaplan, Belknap, Kapknap Animation. It's two of us. So we're going to use our Patreon to fund that. So that means if you care about this stuff and you want to be involved in creating a new animation studio and be credited for that and see what it's like, you can. And we would like you to. I would like you to. Echoes Remastered wants to know, so that was a question from Dario Adrian Mendoza Salazar. Echoes Remastered asks, are there any projects from you guys that are, he says, out there already, but coming out? That would be My Friend Coffee. Lynn Ari.
Well,
and,
you do have other projects, but from you, like you have projects.
Oh, I personally, yes.
Yeah, us together. This was our first time working together. True. But you have done other indie projects on your own.
Yes, yeah.
In the past.
I have done projects in my own in the past. I did Zombie College. I did the Drinky Crow Show. I have a science fiction novel coming out with Rare Bird in 2027, early first quarter 2027, called Legend of the Wolf Whale.
Wasn't I supposed to ask your questions?
Oh, yes. Yeah. No, I've just become a motor mouth on this. Because I'm a writer. As soon as the camera is pointed at me, I start becoming a diva. Okay, you ask the question.
So Laneri and Vagabond Angel had a similar vibe question, so I'm just going to read this one that sort of will answer both. I got no questions, just encouragement to keep this work of art alive. Looking forward to hearing more about this project. How can we support your team in the making of Guys Next Door? So it kind of, we've already answered that a little bit. But... We have. But you can support our team by following Kapknap Animation on YouTube and Patreon. Yeah, well, yeah, Patreon if you can, but if not, just following us over there. Yes, I appreciate it. You could also go in the street and tell two people and tell them to tell two people. That would work as well. Sage EX, will there be merchandise I can buy to fund the show and like you guys?
Yeah, I think on Patreon at some point there will be a shop. We haven't done that yet, but I would like to do that.
And I think YouTube has a shop
Yeah.
allowment as well. So if we ever make merchandise, it will be available for all.
Yeah.
Membership or not.
Yeah, and also at some point I'd like to have a live show component. Like I'd like to do a little tour and go around with whatever project we're doing and the voiceover cast and just do it. So you could visit. You could get a ticket to that. It will be reasonably priced.
Keep going. All right, these are writing questions.
These are writing questions. You'll ask them. I'll sit like this and go like this while you ask them, and then I'll answer them.
Okay. So here's a long list of names and bundled together because they were asking us some question. Amble, Weaponized Rain, Nightoons TV, Spooky Lisbean. Sorry, this is so clumsy, everybody. Let me try again. Let me start.
By the way, do you think it's Weaponized Drain or Weaponized Rain? Probably Weaponized Rain.
I think it's Weaponized Rain.
Okay.
Amble, Weaponized Rain.
I got it in your head.
Now you got in my head. Amble, Weaponized Rain, Nightoons TV, Spooky Lisbean 1050, Pence Cat, I Urge for Knowledge, Flying Teacup 8369, Chef Boyardee, Adit GD. Would appreciate hearing you guys talk about the background of where these characters came from. Thanks for your amazing work. Keep being awesome. General, and these were a lot of people asking these were general inspiration questions like, well, how do you get inspo? And one of them in particular was especially about humor. So that's sort of the question.
Okay. For me, humor and interesting ideas come from difficult contradictions or anxiety-provoking contradictions about life. And in this one, it was really about, I thought that there were two different ways of relating to human mortality. There were people who are like soldiers and CIA assassins and stuff like that who are dealing with the human mortality all the time, constantly thinking about the fact that someday we will die. And then there are people who are not thinking about that because there are stuff like YouTube influencers. And I thought it would be funny to do a show which puts these two perspectives, like crashes them together. So that was the idea, that three CIA assassins crash into the lives of normal people, and that's where the jokes come from, and that's where the characters came from, and that's where the show came from. So that's where the ideas came from.
Did you have any specific inspiration? Like, was there other shows that you'd seen or movies that you wanted to tap into?
Well, yeah. So one thing that was my inspiration was I thought, action movies as such, because I thought, well, The Simpsons, that's kind of sitcoms, and Futurama, that's kind of science fiction movies. So what about action movies? There was a show that I don't think I actually watched, but I heard about it called Burn Notice. And I thought, that's interesting. The idea that there's two burned CIA assassins like living amongst us. I thought that was cool. But a lot of it was just like, what would it be like to take the life and death stakes of an action movie and crash it up against the ordinary stakes of a sitcom, honestly.
Would you appreciate, okay. Alex fan 9511 asks, what's the writing process? Do you write an outline followed by story beats and then a script?
I super outline stuff. I've heard there are people named pantsers who just write by the seat of their pants, and I'm amazed that anyone can do that. I think it's cool, but I don't. I come up with a beat sheet and then an outline and then a script.
Lo-Fi Iowa asks, what is your story breaking process?
Yeah, so that has to really do.
Try not to yell.
Well, okay.
You don't have to be closer.
I don't have to be closer. I don't have to whisper.
You just don't have to yell. Yeah.
Okay. My story breaking process is to figure out like who's the person who really has a need, and what problems do they run into, and how can I make those problems escalate? And I do it then a scene by scene breakdown, and there's often a little bit of a mini story within the scene as well. So that's how I do it.
Random Things 2552. What were some of their names? Were some of their names a play on words like Amberio for embryo or die for diarrhea?
Well, that's interesting because Random Things is itself a play on words for random and dumb. Amberio is absolutely a joke on the word embryo. Di is not short for diarrhea. Di is short for Diotima, who is the teacher of Socrates. and that's ironic because she's a bit of an airhead, but Woos looks up to her. So that's what that's all about.
I never saw her as an airhead though.
Okay. But she's not exactly a source of wisdom. Maybe she is. She's the one who says she's the one who says we're all going to get killed here, and that's correct.
She does seem to have a viewpoint that.
Yeah, she has her head screwed on. Right. That's right. I take it back.
In some ways.
I take it back.
Jan Drubule, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, love the pilot. Can't wait to see what's next. So
great. Yeah, we addressed that.
Thank you.
That would be.
I think there's a line break here, and we need to scroll.
Okay.
All right, question. How
okay.
do you come up with character ideas and their dynamics? Writing 4 to 5 main characters that stay relevant for a whole episode seems like a huge challenge to me.
6 characters was tough, and it came from the fact that there were going to be 3 assassins and 3 normal people. So the way to handle that was everybody has a little story. Amber Rio has a huge story, probably the biggest story. The normal people have different versions of a story, which is like, what would happen if you're trying to live your normal life and suddenly CIA assassins fell into your lap? Trent doesn't have much of a story other than that he feels betrayed. He's like the victim of Amber Rio's malfeasance, and
he's his own victim of himself because he treats her poorly.
True, that's true. So there's Amber Rio and Trent have a co-story, and Richie has a story. Richie and Woos have a story, which is about Richie realizing that he's a copy. So I guess it's really like you write a story for 6 characters by figuring out how there could be 2 or 3 stories that include them all.
Mm-hmm. Ace4573 and Lightmare Shadow had a similar question, so I combined it to this one question. Where does the wellspring of your creative process bloom from? I love the first episode plot and I'm looking forward to similar plans for the future.
Yeah. Anxiety and discomfort. Like I look at things within my own emotional life that trouble me or make me anxious or make me uncomfortable, and I explore them.
The Roach Mellow, do you have any specific skills or knowledge that you learned in your previous projects that helped you at the moment of developing this pilot, specifically from adult animation?
Well, it's a lot of it has to do with tempo. Like animation is very unforgiving in terms of slowing down. So it's like getting the idea across quickly and boiling it down into a quick and momentum based story.
So I think your experience in television keeps the pace going. Is that?
Yeah. Well, specifically adult animation shows like Drinky Crow and Futurama are really like you have to get the idea across quickly and get the story moving and keep it funny.
Mm-hmm. Sketios, what was the thought process and inspiration for making the pilot? Have you always wanted to make this an animated short, or have you considered other media such as comics? So even though the first part of this is similar to what we responded, there's a second part of this question that was different. So
I had considered it once as live action. I think it still would work as live action. I never considered it as comics, but if you guys watching this want to make a Guys Next Door comic, go right ahead. I'd love to read it.
All right, so here's the art section.
Now I get to ask you. Okay. This is a question of very end of this question was asked by KF Peanut and by Ancient Runess. Will the series have a big overarching narrative, or will it follow a more episodic structure? Also, what was your process for designing the characters? Like, who was made first? Were they made to specifically complement each other, etc.?
Yeah. So I feel like this also goes with this question sort of bridges that art. Mm-hmm. I mean, the writing and the art. Yeah. And then also there's a kind of a redundancy with the next question after this. But okay. So hopefully there won't be too much in the answers that are too similar. But so yeah, I think with the series with a big overarching narrative, I think we were planning on doing a bit of both, right? Mm-hmm. Having it sort of that X-Files where each episode is standalone, but also have, like an overarching point. Yeah. The process in designing the characters was Eric and I sitting down and me and him talking about what his vision for the show was, especially early on when so it was like, what is it that what kind of shows do you like the look of? What do you like and not like? What are things that we want to lean away from, and so I brought to the table some things that I thought he would like after that conversation, and we talked about designed from there. And the characters themselves, I feel like the first one we did drawings of was Woo's, because he was almost like the default main character.
Yeah.
And then we went from there, and they were definitely meant to be like Woo's had a very face for, his nose was big, and then we did Les's face sort of like opposite, right? He had sort of a cheekbone that had that cut into his face, and then so they were sort of went together, and Woo's sort of slumped, and Les stood up straight, and then Di was sort of her own thing, because she wasn't necessarily like a part. She's still a part as a roommate, but she's not like antagonistic towards them. So we just worked on making her look unique, and that was sort of I'll go into more specifics as the questions develop. So that's enough for now, and then we'll go on.
Okay. Now there are some questions from Dog C1H, from Mateus Goncalves 7108, from @_copy, and @literally_JJ. And these people ask questions that sound like these. What was the character designing process like? Like, is there any concept art or details you guys can share with us about the creation of your characters? Just a really big fan of character creation / designing, so hearing about it within different projects is really interesting. What went into the designs of the characters? Are they based on anyone, particularly Trent?
So can you scroll back up so I can see the question?
Indeed.
I've got ADHD, so a little bit of short-term memory.
I understand.
So the process after just getting together and talking, we had some Zoom meetings where I was drawing and he was watching me draw.
Yeah, that was great.
And then we went over like, okay, so what is this character really going to be like? And Les in particular early on was like just a nerdy guy. Because I the idea that like he's kind of written as sort of unpleasant. He's very brash, and he'll tell you exactly what he's thinking. And in a real society, that person tends to not get any like people don't want to be anywhere near them unless they're really attractive. So I thought it would be funny that he gets away with being this because he is hot.
Yeah, he's an annoying man, but he's good looking, and so no one has quite broken to him how annoying he is. Yeah.
Di, I wanted her to be sort of atypically attractive, where I wanted her to be wanting to be an influencer, but not quite having what it takes to be an influencer. So she would like dress herself up, but like not quite fit the bill. And I didn't like, though she is curvy and like a sexy body type, I wanted to make sure it was like a realistic person. So she had like fat arms and like legs that were like tapered rather than like shapely legs and a shapely hips. And so there are parts of her that aren't the stereotypical cartoon hot girl. And I wanted her to like have a very expressive face. So we made sure that she had a lot of room for her expression, and her to like be dressed up hot. Like she have like, pretty lips and pretty, but it's like in a position that is like kind of weird. And it's not unlike Betty Boop though, who's considered hot, but is like, why are her lips so low on her face? And how come she has no neck? And like, if you actually break down to the design, it's like, she's kind of ugly. Like,
if she was walking down the street, you'd scream. You'd run. It wouldn't be like, oh, hot, hot, hot.
Yeah. And then Woo's was just like, it just made his nose bigger and bigger as it went. And I think at one point he was like less attractive, and I just started smoothing him out, so he got cuter, but it was still like the nose was still giant on his face.
Yeah.
He was the first one to design and was relatively easy. Though he had a hat in the beginning. Remember, he had a crown.
He did. He did have a crown like Jughead. That's true.
Yeah, Eric wanted him to wear a crown because he was a what's the philosophy?
Oh, he's a Jungian psychoanalyst, so he imagines that he's kind of one of the kings.
Yes,
it's the return of the kings.
He wanted to be the king. He has to like wear the accoutrement of the king, so he wore the crown. And but because we also had them wear those party hats, it was like a hat on a hat.
It was literally a hat on a hat. Yeah.
So we took the first hat out because it was it was nice to have, and we could add it if the show went on.
Yes.
But
yeah.
And then
They want to know if Trent is based
Oh
on
yeah, I was gonna say the characters based on. I would call up celebrities and sort of like pull pieces from them and combine them to sort of like get the sort of gist of them. And not all of them. This was the case. Trent in particular was like Willem Dafoe, um, the guy from Phantasm, the big monster man.
Right, that guy's
The
Karloff or no?
Not Karloff.
No.
It was there was a third person that I'm blanking on at this moment, but it was Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
Because he's the action icon of our lifetime, right?
That's true.
And that sort of tall, skinny build with the suit, right? So it was those three like smashed together to make Trent, and it's funny because everyone commented that he looks like
Nick Cave.
Nick Cave, and I googled Nick Cave after. I'm like, oh shit, it does look just like Nick Cave.
I wonder why that is.
But it was not intended to look like Nick Cave. I think Amber Rio was based on. There's I'm forgetting her name. I used to know her name. I have bad recall, everybody. I'll put it up here at the bottom once I remember it. But she is the actress from. She's in Suspiria, and she's also in Phantom of the Paradise.
Okay.
And she has these very interesting like eyebrows. She's very emotive eyebrows, and one seems to always be higher than the other. And so I sort of like took this sort of ballerina idea from. So she's sort of this ballerina build with the ponytail, and I gave her these sort of like expressive eyebrows. That one's a little higher than the other, and sort of went in that direction with her. And then Richie was like just the opposite. You know, if there's a Keanu Reeves type that we made, and then Richie was the muscle bound action hero. So
Vin Diesel.
Yeah, more like a Vin Diesel or a. And so I sort of looked up Vin Diesel from Triple X, and I was sort of like. I gave him hair, and I gave them. And Triple X has it's set in Russia, so he's got like a leather jacket with a fur collar. So I gave him that, but he made it a vest.
The fur vest was really funny. I would like to have one.
And then and just sort of like went with that direction, and of course we just made him shorter and wider. Like a lot of the design choice was just like, okay, here's a general. We want a muscle bound man, and so we just kept pushing the proportions of everything. So we want a tall guy, make him taller. We want a short muscle guy, make him shorter and musclier. And so it was all just about like pushing these designs until they got where they were, where they can barely fit through a door.
I wonder if like I came across this idea once. I think it's Sheldrake of morphogenetic fields, that there's certain shapes that kind of want to get expressed in biological forms, and maybe that shape expressed itself through Nick Cave and through your brain when you were drawing the character.
Yeah, it just needed to manifest.
Yeah.
All right, next question.
Okay, this is many people ask the question, which sort of like any inspirations for the art style. You're
supposed to say the
I
name.
I will. But I was just going to make transition.
Okay.
So the people who do are Saipi Woohoo, Emanuela Mang TB1PQ, Kakla Swizzy 621, Lime Lantern 5637, and Lewis B_OG. And they all have questions along the lines of any inspirations for the art style, the different shape language for each character, and overall line style in particular really speak to me, and I would love to know more about it.
Okay, so the art style is dictated a lot by the pipeline that we created. So I knew that because we were a low budget show and we needed and I created a new pipeline for how we'd make it. So the art style had to be doable from the board artist's hands. So it wasn't that we had like an art design, like a design that then was put into like an animatable rigged character, so it didn't matter what. So the designs needed to be look okay rough, that you could tell who they were. Didn't matter who was drawing it. That they could have a slightly different art style, but it's like blue with a big nose. You know it's Woo's, right? Like there's no confusing Rio, like Amber Rio and Dye, because they have completely different body shapes and color. Like there's no mistaking any of the characters for each other because of a style change.
Mm-hmm.
So and so that's why each character has such unique shape language and color palette. And so it was about the pipeline and how it flows through. So and we also a lot of inspiration was a lot of French art. There is a show called Los Cars or Las Cars. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It was a show and a movie, and I think they even made a live action movie of it. From like the 2005 2009 time period, that I was like, this is a really beautiful art style, and it was sort of a starting point. So I wouldn't say it like below, it's not identical to it, but it was like I showed it to Eric, and I was like, because we were looking at like rough, ugly designs, and I was like, what about this? And I showed it to him, and he was like, yes. And I was like, okay, we can work in this sort of language. And so sort of extreme pushed sort of art language, and it's rough and quirky. So we sort of lived in that space. And all right, next question.
Yeah, I do want to mention that, like, I came from sort of the matte graining, underground art, it should look ugly school, and we're switching it up on My Friend Coffee, where all the characters are gorgeous.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, they're not. The goal was not to make them hideous.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, your first and last everything asks. They use the emoji.
Stop.
Are you guys going to keep the current art style for all of the following episodes? I absolutely love the messy lines, the popping colors, and how scruffy it looks. I hope you guys keep it.
All right. So, long story short, we were going to.
Yeah. Next question. Ozzy Scribbler, Dapper Snail, Good Boy 7026, and Cordy Dre. They're all interested in the color. They say, I'd love to hear you talk about color choices and whether it was a purely practical choice or a stylistic one. Would you, if this project was more robust budget production-wise, still be using one flat hue for each character? Also, what made you decide on which color with which character? And how did you decide on the sequences with changed color scheme? Plus, do you mind showing some old concept art of the character designs?
All right, 1 second. I need to check my phone. Okay.
Wow.
It'll fill the screen. We can't even see us. Look at this fun art.
Yeah.
To answer the other questions, it was both a practical one and a stylistic one. We chose to make it color-wise simplistic, so that way it would be like a simple color palette people could pull from. So like not more than 5 colors per character. And we wanted it to make an unrealistic world color palette, so that way we wouldn't have to get stuck in lighting situations where we'd have to match actual lighting and the colors wouldn't look right. And so even if we had a really big budget, though some of these choices were made for practicality reasons with a small budget, I do think it was also a choice on our part that we wanted something to look different. We wanted it to be unique and edgy, and to do these, it makes it unique and edgy, in my opinion. Yeah. Like I don't know any shows that have like a pink and purple apartments, or like cityscapes that are all one color, and it's like it's been some of the references we used to prove that this could be working was shows like Mission Hill, which existed a long time ago and hasn't really been tapped. Like,
Lauren McMullen.
Yeah, the art style has not been like brought back, but like that show was beautiful and it was very unique color wise, and it didn't matter that everyone was blue and yellow and
Yeah. I feel if we had a giant budget, we'd make more episodes rather than spending it on crepas or something like that.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Go back up. Who made you decide?
Which character? Why are the different characters the colors they are?
I picked Blue for Woo's because he's like always trying to be cool and mellow, or he's always trying to be like, "It's gonna be okay, guys." Like he's trying to be calm. He's trying, so
Calming.
it's his
He's trying to be
calming
calming.
color.
Yeah.
And less is sort of a annoying color, so I made him sort of like a piss green.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Di is hot pink because she's performatively female.
Yeah.
And I saw that as more like her career choice rather than her true character.
Not her essence, yeah.
And so if, as the show went forward and she grew as a character and decided not to lean on that we would change her color palette.
To what?
I was thinking of something more orange.
Interesting, okay.
But
well, that's what you don't get to see.
Yeah. So she'd be like a warmer orange, because I know Richie's like a sunflower orange. Yeah. So I wanted her to be like a, I guess,
but
more
you
of a
could
reddish.
draw a piece of fan art as a more red-orange guy, if that is a way to spend your time.
And the other colors, Trent, obviously, he was a Frankenstein reference, so we picked a greener color, and we picked a cool green, so it wasn't clash or it'd be confusing with Les's color. And then Richie is just a sunny guy, so he is the sort of like orangey sunflower color. And then I wanted Amber Rio. With a name like Amber, we could have gone red, but I wanted this sort of character reveal where she is wearing a gray suit. She was a color that could be toned down, and when she took off her suit and got naked, her vibrant color came out.
Which is lavender or
yes,
mauve?
she's like purple. She's like purple color. Okay. So lavender, but so she's sort of a toned down color and then becomes more vibrant by stripping off her mask.
When she's naked, she becomes a naked purple person.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, here's a big question, and these are questions called general process, and most of them are for you.
Okay, I would say they're general process.
Process.
We made all these sections just with question marks?
Yeah, we wanted to fit it in. So what it means is, what's the deal with your general process anyway?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's one which is Dip Schlitz at Vindicate.
No, not at. Those are two names.
Oh, those are two names. There's Dip Schlitz, and then there's also Vindicated Vin 8654, and they want to know, what program or app did you use to make the pilot?
So we used Adobe Animate.
And then Hudson B PD3 UD says, what was your favorite thing about making the pilot? Also, what breakfast item is yours and each of the characters in the show's favorite? The pilot was awesome. Great job. Hope you have a great rest of your day. You too, Hudson B. I hope you're seeing this.
The whole process for me was actually really rewarding, and there wasn't.
Me too.
It was really fun collaboratively to work. It was really fun to create this pipeline that we proved worked. Everyone went to bed on time, and we got this done.
Yeah, it was great.
I was the only one that wasn't sleeping, but it was really fun and satisfying. It was creatively fulfilling. It was a really great experience overall, and I think completing it felt really like, look what we did, guys. You know, like,
on a personal note, I had a little bit of like recovering control freak stuff, because I was used to kind of like this attitude where the writers are constantly like bossing the animation people around, and I realized more and more this is wrong, and it doesn't get number one, it's not respectful, but number two, it doesn't create a good product. So I was happy that I learned to do that a little bit more.
We also had a really good team. We picked some people who really could bring their amazing talents to the project, and everyone fucking killed it. Yeah, it was great. We'll talk more about that. I think there's other questions specific about the process, but
Mari V1D asks, do you already have the script ready for the entire series, or is it still in development? I guess that's a question for me, right? I would say no. I would not write an entire script for a whole series unless it were something, if it was something like Pluribus, maybe, where it was like really a novel. But if it's something more episodic, I'd rather learn from the first episode what the second episode ought to have. Here's another question from Reggie Warnicki, 5323. And she asks, I guess either of us could ask this, what's the story of Noel and Eric teaming up for Guys Next Door? Who found whom?
Smiley face.
Smiley face. Well, I mean, what happened was I reached out to Matt Danner, who's a great animation director and an old friend of mine, and I said, do you recommend anybody? And he gave me a list of people, and I was very impressed with Noelle's work online. She had posted some movies and some animatics, and particularly Teen Titans, right?
Yeah, I had some animatics from my Teen Titans days.
Yeah, and that was very close to the spirit of the show because it was like it was working as an action show, but also had jokes. So I was like, I should meet this person, and we met, and she was the one who very quickly said, even though the show's called Guys Next Door, you can't have them live next door. It's too many sets. So I was like, okay, this is somebody who knows what she's talking about. So that's what happened.
Yeah, I was lucky enough. You know, I'm a very opinionated person, and I'll tell people what I think right away. So that could have gone south if you didn't want my opinion. But I was like, the opening was that they lived next door and they were going back and forth. And I'm like, the first thing we need to do is cut that. And then.
And immediately I was like, that's completely wrong because it's called Guys Next Door. And then I went home and truth penetrated my thick head.
I think it was actually at the end of reading the script. You didn't even go home. We finished the script and you were like, if only the intro was different. and I was like, and you decided to change it after that first
and it's, I mean, for me, ironically, one of the things there's many things I'm grateful for, a lot of things I'm grateful for about having had the opportunity to work in Hollywood and in TV. But one thing I don't care for is this expectation of lying, that people are supposed to lie, and I that makes me personally feel unsafe because I can't trust people if I know they're lying all the time. And I also think if you have 10 people in a room and 9 of them are lying, you kind of have one person in the room, like you're not getting the benefit of their insight. So I'm pro honesty and anti-lying in a bold original twist that I think can be found in Aesop's fables, right? Should I go on?
Yeah, next one.
Black Bro here and the Mickey Reactions ask something like, do you guys do this as a full-time job? Also, how did you afford to make this? And how did you set up a team? Good questions.
So at this time, we were being paid full-time to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were being paid. Maybe you were.
I was not being paid. I was
part of the creative.
I was part of the creative team. Yeah.
But I was being paid. We had a production person. That was Sam who was being paid, and then the art team was being paid as well. So it was a full-time job for everybody. We afforded to make it because Eric found a financier.
Yeah.
Who was part of the starting process.
Yeah, that was Wolfgang Hammer at Hammer Studios. But moving forward on My Friend Coffee, we're going to do it scrappier.
Yeah.
We're going to find out a way that the audience will pay for it, actually.
Or commercials, any sort of merch sales.
Yeah.
Like, things that see how we can fund it, like other indie projects do here on the internet.
Yeah.
But, I was going to say the other question: how do we set up the team? So it started with finding me.
Yeah, started with finding Noel.
And then initially we actually had Sam wanted to try this Mexican studio.
Yeah.
And so we started there, and nothing against them, it just wasn't working out.
It wasn't a good fit.
And I was like, I actually know people. If we, with this budget in the pipeline that I had in mind, we could make this faster and cheaper if we just got people here to make it. And then so we pulled from the studio and we did that, and we got it out faster and cheaper.
Yeah.
By months.
Yeah, it was amazing. Okay, Short Lina asks, were there beta plot designs, characters, etc. before the release?
Wooz's hat.
Wooz's hat
counts.
There was a whole script actually, which I wrote, and I was interested in the idea that that the Incas, when an emperor died, would mummify him and still have his house, and have people serving him in the house. So I had a version of that where that was true of John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon, and they had black versions of the White House below the earth, and the whole thing took place in South Dakota. And then it is not the whole thing, but the normal people lived in South Dakota, and they were twin women. And at some point, I was like, it's too much like Robert Smigel's thing about the ex-presidents. like crazy action movie tropes with ex-presidents. I felt it would seem too derivative, so I broomed that and came up with this story we have now.
I've never read that for script, so.
Okay, well, I don't know.
I believe you.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, I think I still want to do something about that Inca thing. I still think it's quite weird and funny. Okay, I'll keep going. Neev asks, how is the process to make the pitch Bible a concrete reality? I'm working on a project of my own, and I'd like to know how you all made it happen. P.S. Very good pilot. Hope to see more. Well, thanks, Neev. So we didn't have to do a Bible, and I usually don't work with the Bible. It's just a sort of unnecessary sales piece of work. So on this one, we didn't need to do it. We sort of, I had an oral pitch. I said to the studio, how about something which is an action movie about some assassins who move in with some normal people? And they said, yeah. And we kind of took it from there.
Yeah, and because we showed stuff along the way, but it was not like it's not like a main studio that wants a pitch Bible to take to all executives. It weren't those weren't those kinds of meetings.
It was more lean and mean in a good way.
Yeah, it was like a one person that we had to get the approval of, and he was pretty hands off.
He was good. Yeah, he was good.
Name, you want to read those names?
I am. Okay. Kogwatani, 2004, and Maya Collins, 3447, asks, how long did it take you to complete this? What was the workflow like, and what troubles did you face in production, pre-production, and post-production?
So it took us from the time of when we took it from the Mexican studio.
Mm-hmm.
It took us 9 weeks from that. So if we're counting that, it took 9 weeks to storyboard, and then I think there was another couple weeks for audio.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
But if we talk pre-production, that we met up in September or something, and we were doing character design stuff, and then we worked for at least a month or two with the Mexican studio.
Yeah.
And then that stopped happening, and we didn't use anything that they did really, so I'm not counting it as part of the production.
That's fair. But so the by Hollywood standards, lickety split. We cracked on like smoke and oakum.
Yes, usually it takes a year to get from board to animation in a traditional pipeline, and we did it in 9 weeks.
Yeah,
and we did it where people went to sleep. Like everyone else had an 8-hour workday. Maybe there's some individuals that just they work differently, and so they have a different workflow. But most people were clocked out at 7 p.m. and it was great. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And so the workflow in particular goes like this: the board artists get their stuff. We are boarding in Flash. So, and we organize it so that way when it's time to clean up, it cleans up quickly. And we're using our board drawings as our final drawings. So it's not this sort of lost process, because typically, so the board is just used for reference, and then it's thrown out. So, but we're boarding an animatic, and then we're just cleaning up that animatic. And so it took out almost a year in the pipeline to do this way.
Yeah.
And because we're not like sending it to animators and blah blah blah, it's a very limited pose to pose style animation. And that allows us to sort of like, well, this section we're gonna like really make sing, and then this one we don't have to worry so much about, and stuff like that. And so it allowed us to be very flexible. And I think we started off with 8 weeks, and we added 1 extra week to really polish it.
Yeah.
But it was still under time and budget, so it really wasn't that big a deal to be like, oh, we need 1 more week.
Yeah.
And then I think the troubles we had, and I'm not going to name names, but there was a miscommunication with one of our board artists, and they used the wrong screen ratio, and so we had to like retroactively go back and like fix that. But so that was a little unfortunate, but it's not like crazy. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh, it bothers me, but it's not going to bother. Like the show is fine for it. Like it's not a big deal, and it's no one's mad at anybody. I just don't want that. I don't want that board artist to feel bad.
No, they should feel good.
Yeah.
Wolfgang should feel good. The board artist should feel good. Everyone should feel
Everyone
good.
should feel good.
Everyone should feel good. Okay, Rinnick City says, I like the art style in the intro song. Sun emoji. Also, how long did it take to create the first episode? We just answered that. And what character do you think you relate to the most? Should I answer first? Okay. I suddenly realized I really relate to Trent the most. And this is growth for me, because I think comedy people have a tendency to sort of view themselves as passive, but then often act in a way that's kind of active. And I think about people who create like the character of Leonard on the Big Bang Theory, or Morty on Rick and Morty are very successful business people. They're not actually terrified nerds. So I think there's often a split in writers' personalities, and there's an unacknowledged Trent. So I'm feeling like I'm going to own my inner Trent. So I relate to Trent. How about you?
I was going to say, I think there's also part of you in Woos because you're philosophy.
Yeah.
You like philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think all of these characters, there's like different facets of us that.
Yeah, Madame Bovary, c'est moi, as Flaubert said. Like if you write a character, it's probably either you or someone who annoys you.
So the character I relate to most, I don't know. I feel like Richie was very charming. I don't know if I relate to him, but sure, there's times I feel like a little naive.
You're naive, yeah.
Maybe Richie is the one.
Yeah.
But I'm also very truth forward when I speak, so maybe less is a good. Though I don't think I'm maybe mean or catty, but it could come off as that if I'm being honest and someone doesn't like what I'm saying.
No, I don't think so.
So maybe those two.
Okay, and the intro song, Jared Faber did a great job, and the singer did a great job. Maybe we can put her name in the.
It was like Summer.
Let's not guess.
Yeah. We'll censor that part.
War, I think was her name. Sunny War.
Sunny War.
Yeah.
Not Summer. Sunny.
Okay. Cue the News says, how did you all assemble the sound team? Did you guys have a composer or style in mind for the score? Are there plans to give Richie a power ballad in the next episode? If not, I have some lyric suggestions. Copy this, copy that, but you can never copy me because I am now 3D. Printer, I came from thee, I am Richie. You could throw a guitar solo at the end of that verse or something. Also, can you tell Trent I love him? Thanks.
Very sweet.
Yeah, that's nice.
Our sound team was Salami.
Yeah.
It's a recording studio, and they also do sound effects.
They do.
They did some Foley for us, which was nice.
Yes.
And they did, when we sat and we fiddled with all the sound effects with them.
Yes.
And we got it to where we liked it. They did a good job.
Yes.
They were really hoping the show would get picked up so it can be continue to work with them. And it just unfortunately didn't work out that way.
So next, Isabella S3729 asks, how backbreaking was it to create this masterpiece?
It was a doable. We made sure it was a doable thing.
Yeah.
And I think people worked hard, but no one died from it.
Yeah.
No backs broken.
The killer is if you have a bunch of non-creative people who keep changing their minds because they're nervous and they want to please their bosses. That's the thing that is backbreaking or sort of morale breaking, because you keep chasing your tail, making changes and then unchanging them, which we did not have.
No. If Eric ever came and was like, what if we did this? And I would be able to be like, that would actually be more work and we shouldn't do that. And he'd be like, okay.
Okay, no, I didn't want to make it more work for that reason. Okay. Were there any snags in the process where you had to, quote, kill your darlings?
Wait, you need to read the names.
Oh, you're right. This is from Tailsy Evergreen, and it is from Arlen A Stove .Zakazak 90. Were there any snags in the process where you had to, quote, kill your darlings? How does producing an online pilot differ from your professional work? Cheers to all on the project, by the way. It was a breath of fresh air.
Thank you. we didn't have to kill any of our darlings.
No.
Because we were able to read the script and edit stuff when we needed to early, and then so we never like finished a scene and be like, oh no, we can't have it. So we didn't waste any animation in that way, and I don't think we didn't have executives saying like, you know what, we can't have Dye. Like there was no one that told us we couldn't do something.
Yeah, which is great.
And so, how is producing online pilot different than professional work? I think that's it. The fact that I was able to pitch this whole new process and was told, yes, do it. Like if I pitched that at a place like Disney, they'd be like, no, we have our own pipeline. Like,
yes.
This is how we do it this particular way, and you're not allowed to do it any other way. And so we were able to do new inventive things. The art style wasn't executive filled. It wasn't like someone saying what needs to look like Family Guy so it can sell, or it needs to look like Rick and Morty. So because I've noticed it like things look like Simpsons, and then so that Family Guy kind of looked a little like the Simpsons, and then things looked a little bit more like like Family Guy going forward, and then Rick and Morty came out and that had a unique look, and then things started kind of looking like Rick and Morty, and the executives are so scared of like making creative decisions. They just see what does well, and we know this does well, so let's design something that looks like this. And so we had the freedom to be like, we want to make it how we want it to look, and that was very different than working through a studio.
Very different. Yeah. Okay, here's a question from Manatee I6T. Did you try to pitch this show anywhere else before deciding to bring it to YouTube? And how did you come up with this idea to do this in the first place? Yeah, we pitched it to a bunch of places, and it didn't align with what they wanted to do, and they passed. Yeah, too bad.
And we talked a little about
or maybe
it
not
earlier.
too bad.
Yeah,
maybe not too bad.
Because I was going to say, we talked a little bit about this before, and a lot of stuff that gets made through the studio pipeline that they pass on, they can have a final pilot, and it never sees the light of day because they decided they don't want it anymore. And the fact that we made this indie and no one wanted it means we could have posted on YouTube.
Right, you guys might not have seen it had we sold it to a streamer or a network, or
developed it through that way.
Possibly it would have been like so compromised, it wouldn't have been any good.
They could have also said, we kind of like this, but we want it to be this, that, and this different. Yeah. And but that obviously didn't happen because we're not there.
Yes. This one we kind of answered already, I think. So I'll go to the next one. Avox Dead asks, if y'all's show ever got the attention of a major studio, would y'all sell the show or keep it in y'all's studio for creative rights? I think we'd license it if it happened. If somebody were like, we'd really like to put it over our streamer or over our network, I think we'd probably work out a thing where they could do it for a limited amount of time, and then it would revert to the rights owners who are me and Hammer Studios primarily.
If they paid to make more of it,
that'd be good.
Right, because there's only one of it. So right. I think if we sold it to make a full show, how does that process? Is there licensing? Yeah, I think you'd probably want to keep it as a studio.
I think so. This is a question for lawyers, for people who wake up in the morning and think about deals.
Yeah,
I'm a poet.
So we'd like to keep the rights.
Yeah. Metal Bunny 8942 says, so are you guys going to release the uncensored version? Asking for a friend.
I left this question here because I wanted to like talk about what's actually behind, process-wise, behind that censor bar.
What is behind the censor bar?
So we initially did it uncensored, and she had nips out.
Yeah.
And she had bush. She did
have bush, yeah.
And then Eric was like, oh, we need to censor it if it's ever going to maybe air anywhere.
Or be on YouTube.
Yeah. And so we talked about how we wanted to censor, and I thought censor bars, like literal censor bars, would be very funnier than like pixelation.
Yeah, it was funnier.
And so we did that. We actually had to delete her pubes to do the censor bar so there wouldn't be any pubes sticking out around it. So there is actually nothing under her censor bar. There's it's just like a Barbie crotch in there. So it's not very sexy. And her nips are just pointy.
Yeah. And it's sad because it's a beautiful part of life. Why can't we draw it?
Yeah. But there's nothing under there.
Yeah. Now these are called questions about directing. And some of them we didn't know if they were directing or writing or what have you, but we'll answer them. The first one is from Off Fries Animations. What does it take to make a comedic yet interesting script like this? I think that's a funny yet. I'm working on my own show, and I would love to learn more about writing.
So the reason this is not in the writing section and it's in this section is because it's a very similar question.
It is.
And but I wanted to talk about the team that it creates. That sorry, I'm fumbling my words. How something like this is created holistically with a team. It's not one person's good script writing. If you give the script to someone who doesn't know how to make it funny, it won't be funny. We had a great team that was able to take the script, find the jokes, push things, make sure the jokes were landing, timing, expression, acting, camera angle, all take. It's all how something can be interesting and comedic beyond just the script, and so that's and it was us looking at it being like, how is this, as the directing part of it, like watching it over and over and being like, how can this be better as a group, basically. So and people were able to help out in other people's sections, like verbally or so
good answer. Tomatoes in My Soup 4485 asks, how did you conceive the personalities for these characters? And by extension, how did that tie into your visions for the voiceover actors? Or were the personalities in part created by the voiceover actors throughout the process?
So this is here because we're going to start talking about voice acting.
Yes.
And that is in part directing. So a lot of people came with sort of ideas about how the character should or shouldn't be. Some people we had to like massage into the character. And some people, what first take was great. And some people... So everyone brought their A game, and their collaborative spirit, and it was just different per person.
The next question is Utak Drat 8605. How did you get the dialogue to sound so natural?
I think that's partly a writing question and partly a dialogue. Like a voice actor, right? So a lot of times there'd be a take, and we would just be like, "We want it a little different. We want it a little different. Like, can you say it a little more like this, or like that?" And so there's a lot of pushing on delivery, and then also Eric's writing ability to write dialogue that feels a little more naturalistic. So what is your process when you write a conversation between characters to make it? I
think I kind of hear it is the truth. Like, I don't know how to explain like there's a way that I can just kind of like lock into a character and write from the point of view of that character. I don't have much more self-awareness or anything helpful to say than that.
All right, I'll ask the next question. Stalk E468. How do y'all get the voice actors? They're really big for YouTube series.
Well, many of them were people who I had worked with before, and they're people who like to connect themselves to projects that they feel simpatico with. So that was true for the cast. So we were happy to get them, and it was a good mutually beneficial collaboration.
And I think it's just Eric knew them from working on previous series, right? So he's like friends-ish.
Yeah, kind of friends with them. Yeah. Ejectunes or Ejectunes says, what made you want to produce the series as a web series? And would you see yourself making future episodes?
So initially it was not seen as a web series.
No.
But we would have loved to continue making it as a web series.
Yeah, we would have loved it.
And sadly, we can't.
We can't, but we can do My Friend Coffee, so you should check that out.
Yeah.
Okay. These are questions about the plot or the characters. Storytellers Studio 324 asks, will any ships become canon? Really, if it provides you any mental, physical, erotic, or emotional pleasure to imagine the characters doing anything, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the answer is easily no, because there's no.
There won't be no more series, but
I think you had at one point verbalized you thought Di and Richie would get together.
That would be funny. Yeah, I'd like to. I did think that would be good because I think she's she's a little smarter than he is, but he's got a little more heart than she does, so they would be good for each other. That's true. Black Lotus 577 wants to know if we'll see more of 3D printer. We won't, because there aren't any more episodes. However, there's a scrappy coffee machine named the Serenade on My Friend Coffee, so you'll get to see him. Francis Katamburi 4044 says, this is total random. Les and Trent, can they become a couple? I don't know, they look cute together. And I would like to know if Trent wardrobe is just zebra suit and bolo ties. Well, I'll answer the first one. You asked the second.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. You can draw a picture of them being intimate with each other, and then they're a couple. Yeah.
We picked Trent's outfit because it was based off of the sort of idea of what is the name of that camo? I'm blanking on it. It was called Dazzle Camo.
Dazzle Camo.
And it was used on ships for a period of time during World War II. And so the concept is it's so confusing to look at. Your eyes like can't register what's happening. You can't tell if it's coming towards you or coming away from you. And that on a suit, on a moving person that was punching and hitting you, that would sort of be really chaotic and you wouldn't be able to see what's happening.
Yes.
And so as and this also concept that if something is so bizarre, you kind of your brain doesn't register it, and you kind of, so as a spy, he can wear this outrageous thing walking down the street, and it's almost like camouflage because it's so weird looking. And then in a fight sequence, it would be so dazzling. You would be confused.
I think that no one would notice him. Tell it to the Marines. I think the idea that he could walk down the street without 200 people making a movie of him on their phones is not really true.
But other than yes, I think he has a lot of bolo ties.
Yes.
And you could probably have. I think the concept also was that the suit was holographic in some way.
It was.
And so he could then change it if he wanted.
He could. And then there's a question from Sha'il 5225. How Woos and Lester met? I think they met in college. Then there's a question from Shadesco. Will there be a beach episode? Again, I think you should draw one and put it on your website.
Please, I want to see what you think Trent would wear to the beach.
What do you think they would be at the beach? Guillermo Servisalmeron, 2209, asks why the pilot had that plot with such an overpowered concepts, like the copy machine and one of the protagonists becomes a villain wanting to be a god. I mean, my initial answer was, because I thought it was funny, but I think a better answer might be, I don't know, we live in a world that's getting pretty tweaked. Like people are doing all kinds of outrageous things.
Mm-hmm. And I think you answered when we were talking about it before. You said because you thought it was funny.
I did think it was funny.
And I think that's a good answer.
Okay, I started reading these, but I shouldn't have.
Okay, now it's my turn.
Yeah.
He is Puppy says, is the goat Amber Rio returning?
Well, no, because there won't be any more episodes. Yeah, okay.
But she was going to.
She was absolutely going to.
She was going to come back and be a main.
She was one of the main team members. Yes, she was going to be born and grow up and then be a team member. Yeah.
Salem's the Bat. Is it okay to be shipping the characters together, or are there specific characters you don't want being shipped together for any reason related to future episodes or character sexualities?
I think it's more than okay to ship one with himself, one with any of the other 5, 2 with any of the other 4, 3 with... You see where I'm going. Any combination is more than okay.
I think when it comes to... like headcanon, like you could do whatever you want that makes you happy. If these two characters together makes you happy, who cares if the person's not actually gay? Or like if it's your own fan art in your head, whatever. It's your favorite.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
Don't let anyone take it away from you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Corathian, is Trent even alive?
Yes.
He's not a zombie?
I don't think he's a zombie. No.
Gandhi boy, is Richie single?
Well, that's funny because he's clearly multiple, right? But if that means do any of those individuals currently have a partner? They seem all to be unattached. Yes.
Zardalf, will there be another woman joining the team?
If we kept going, we should do that. Yes.
The other thing is like the idea of having another woman is not bad, but the the team being 6 people, like, were you going to expand more people?
Well,
or is it just finding another another returning character that could be a woman?
oh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, those all sound good.
Yeah.
I don't need to decide. That sounds like hard work, which I don't need to do.
I mean, it is a speculative since there's no more of it.
Yeah, I think someone at home should solve the problem and send us an email. Okay, this is the nice things that people said, so we don't want that to go unacknowledged. Monilla Co. says, will there be a teal one? Also, love the pilot. I think you guys made interesting characters very easily, and I hope to see more episodes soon.
Dorian Brown 587 says, love the characters, very relatable. How do you guys connect? Who do you guys connect with the most? I think we already
kind of answered that. Matcha Devind Usant Polimpol 9327 says something which I needed to use Google Translate to translate, but they say coup de coeur sur cette série, très bon boulot, and I say merci.
Smith Seb, how do you not have more viewers even after a couple of weeks? This is the best art project. This is one of the best art projects I've seen since TDADS, which is the Amazing Digital Circus.
Oh, thanks, Smith Seb. Thanks.
Yeah,
that's nice.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and here are some random questions at the end.
AMS to the PM. Understand what I'm about to tell you, for this is a serious matter of life or loss. Who, and I mean who, is your fave character that you guys made?
I don't know. Don't make us pick. Eggy SR4P says, will the state of Delaware be featured in the next episode?
Why not?
Yeah.
See the Fan. What are the characters' favorite games?
Well, Trent's favorite game is Go.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe Amber Rio's favorite game is Mafia.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe14. Can kids watch this? No. Julianne Drager.
Do we fuck with tacos?
We didn't understand what that meant. If it means do we eat them? Yes.
We like tacos.
Yeah.
I am vegan though, so I think it'd be vegan.
They would have to be vegan tacos.
Yours next.
Nivram T.
Oh wait, maybe I'm next.
You might be next. Nivram T.
Nivram T. When do they all become real?
They don't. They don't. No. Fictional things don't become real.
Well, sometimes
unless people really want them to.
Well, does he mean like live action?
I didn't. Maybe that means when will it be live action? I don't see that happening anytime. No.
Sorry, I bonked the microphone. Everybody, sorry.
Okay.
No, don't bonk it.
Should I ask the last one?
From
yes.
Yes.
Bird Pants the cat would like to know, what's your favorite food?
I like mochi.
Okay, like mochi. I think we kind of borked the question earlier about every character's favorite breakfast food.
Oh yeah, we did.
I'm pretty sure Richie's favorite breakfast food would be pancakes.
That's good.
Okay.
What about? I feel like Trent doesn't eat breakfast.
Yeah, Amber Rio, it's probably like 45 grams of whale protein or something like
that. What about Di? Smoothie of some sort?
Yeah, some kind of laxative smoothie.
To go with her laxative tea.
Yeah.
What about Woo's? Oatmeal?
Yeah, oatmeal.
About less protein shake for him?
Or possibly against type Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some whimsy in him.
Or just childishness, yeah.
And what's your favorite breakfast food?
Pancakes.
Pancakes.
How about yours?
I make a smoothie every morning.
That's good. That's
blueberries.
Healthy. That's healthy. Okay. Thank you for watching this show. We're sorry we're not making more of them.
Yeah, we're really sorry.
However, we're really happy that we're starting our own studio, that we got to meet each other, and we got to meet all of you. So if you like this kind of stuff, and you obviously do, or you wouldn't have watched to the end of this video, check out Kapknap YouTube channel, and then keep watching that, and we'll let you know about the Patreon.
Yeah. We are going to post a little video there to explain My Friend Coffee a little bit more.
Yes.
And I'm going to just re-say that.
Yeah.
And just edit that out. We are, what was I going to say? So yeah, if you go over to the YouTube channel for Kapknap, We're gonna have posted a video there that explains My Friend Coffee a little bit more, and we're gonna like do a little show and tell of what the characters are like and what the show's about,
and how you can be a part of it.
And how you
because
can.
We don't get to do it, and you don't get to see it if you're not a part of it.
Yes. And yeah, we really appreciate you watching this. And
yes, thanks for caring. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Kapknap, by the way, Kapknap is Kaplan and Belknap, and Belknap has a silent K in it. So it is Kapknap.
And what else was I wanted to add? I don't remember. Oh well.
Okay, well, keep watching this. If Noel remembers, we'll make another short video called Noel Remembers.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll chime in later.
Okay, thanks everybody. Keep watching the stars.
All right, bye.
Bye. I hope your phone lived.
It did.